Good evening, beautiful people. This is Unscripted with Melissa Santillan, and I want to welcome my co-host, Antonio Ramirez. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the opportunity as well.
Yes, and I know I did like a little mini biography of you, and you had a list of titles that I would butcher. So please tell them what your current title is right now.
Just a couple. Currently, I do serve as the board president for Comprehensive Community Solutions, the organization that hosts many youth programs that we're going to learn about today. And actually, one of those programs is what got me started in the community, YouthBuild. So you'll hear a little bit about that today. I also serve a new position with Alumni Rockford as the community and outreach coordinator for Ready to Learn programs initiative projects that we're going to be doing also to help families from early childhood and beyond. So those are kind of the things that I'm doing right now. Serve as a member of the education committee for the Coalition of Latino Leaders. And actually my last meeting for the National Board of Directors for YouthBuild USA. Okay. So that's coming up for me too. I've been serving for that board, 10 years. So
10 years already. That's
my last meeting next week, actually. So So those are just some.
Well, congratulations on your accomplishments. But speaking of YouthBuild, we have two of our team members from YouthBuild. We actually have the president, and we have, the president, Will. Is it Chapman, right?
Yes,
Chapman.
Yes.
So tell us your title, Will, and then I will introduce this lovely lady.
So my name is William Chapman. I'm the executive director / CEO of Comprehensive Community Solutions. And we have 4 programs at that organization. Our longest running program, as Antonio mentioned, which is YouthBuild Rockford. It's been running 28 years strong. And then we have Rock for Work, which is those are our 2 workforce development programs, and then our community programs are Alpha, which is an acronym that stands for what it stands.
We need backup, Claudia.
The Advanced Learning Program for Higher Achievements.
There we go.
And then our 4th program, which is Alive and Free. I'll let Claudia introduce herself.
And this is our other guest, Claudia Consuelos.
Thank
so
you.
Let us know what your titles are there.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for having us. My name is Claudia Consuelos. I am the Director of Workforce Development. So as William mentioned, I do oversee 2 programs. But of course, we are all under the same agency of Comprehensive Community Solutions. So we're all happy to help one another out. But YouthBuild is definitely the one that most of our community knows about.
Yes. And the location of the building, what is the address?
917 South Main Street.
South Main Street.
Yeah, we sit at the corner of Kenton, Maine.
Kenton, Maine. So it is actually where one of the new murals resides.
Yes.
So if you have been down that way, downtown area, south side, you will notice when you start dwindling down the road, you'll start seeing all of these beautiful murals pop up, and they are one of the first ones that you see actually when you're driving down Maine, going more south. I actually had the pleasure of touring. It was probably a little over a month ago. I got to go in, and I've always been past the building, right? And I've seen pictures. Like, I remember when Buddha had his event there, the Dia de los Muertos event. I didn't go to the event. I wasn't able to make it to it, but I remember seeing the images and the pictures because there was a lot of photography and videos going on there. But I had never been in myself. And I am a longtime South Sider. I was born and raised on South Main. So I grew up right there. My family had a business. Grandma still lives over there. It was amazing to go into the building and see the renovations because you were sharing stories with me about how the students there are actually the ones that are helping you renovate that entire space. And it doesn't look anything like when I saw those pictures years ago. So tell us what's going on with the renovations.
Yeah, so we received a grant through Representative Maurice West II. He worked with us and secured money, $300,000 through the state of Illinois to help us with those renovations. And it had been a long time since the building had seen, renovations, as you were saying. So the $300,000 allowed for us to pay for a new roof, which is underway right now. They're taking off the old roof and putting on a new one. The second thing that it allowed us to pay for is we've never had air AC on the third floor.
Yeah.
So
Remember them days.
yes. So it's gonna allow for us to have HVAC system installed on that floor, which is where our classrooms are. So that means we'll be able to host classrooms all summer long. And we're actually going to a 7-day schedule coming up here within the next couple of weeks. So the AC made that possible in the summertime. And it also paid for us to build out new classrooms and new office space because our team is growing pretty rapidly. When I got there as the CEO in 2020, we were, including myself, it was 5 employees there. By this summer, we will have almost 30 staff.
Wow,
so,
that's a huge growth.
Yeah, we're growing rapidly.
In 3 years, you guys literally like tripled in size.
Yeah. And so with that being said, once Maurice Rest secured those funds, several other organizations donated to us as well. Ergozi Foundation gave us $15,000 and M3 Insurance gave us $5,000. And what that allowed for us to do was strip down the classrooms on the other half of the building that had been used for the last 20 years and never been updated. So we were able to strip out the old carpet, lay new flooring, trim work, paint, get new chairs, desks in those classrooms as well. So the classrooms look totally new now.
I actually got to see those classrooms. So I saw what one of the old ones looked like when you guys were tearing everything up. And then I saw the new ones that were built. And I tell you what, it looks like a whole different space.
Different. And I mean, I was there from the beginning when they moved over there. And just getting AC, you guys are winning big time.
It's a win-win with the AC.
Fans all over it. And then we had that one fan that blew out the heat.
Blowing hot air.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are doing great. Yeah, and the youth putting the work in and helping out too. That's huge too.
Yeah, I
That's
appreciate
huge.
that.
And that's through one of your programs, right? They learn construction and they learn how to do things like that. So for future jobs, they're actually already like an internship. Like they're learning hands-on how to do all this. So who is teaching them all this? You?
No. That's right. So I'm a graduate of YouthBuild Rockford. I went through the program in 2001. And when I went through the program, at the time, I was too old for construction. So I took the computer class. So I'm not the one doing the construction training.
So you were you came in like as an OG.
Right. So we have 2 construction trainers and a full-time AmeriCorps trainer. So one of our construction trainer is a graduate of the YouthBuild Rockford program as well. I believe Francisco, he graduated in 2021, I believe it was. Or was it 2020?
2022.
2020.
That was last year.
Wow.
Oh, he's
time moves fast.
In 1 year, a lot can get done.
Yeah. So he went through the program, graduated. We hired him on as staff, and he's training now youth builders this year. And Eduardo, which came to us from the union, he wanted to get involved in youth work, so he left his union job to come work there with young people and train them. And both of them, they're doing an excellent job. Our third person, which is Tyron, he's a YouthBuild graduate as well. He's serving as a full-time.
Tyron Bell?
Tyron Tomlinson.
Okay. Everybody knows Tyron Bell.
He graduated YouthBuild the same year Francisco did, and he's serving as a full-time AmeriCorps member, training youth as well.
And I have to just step back into your story a little bit. When you started YouthBuild, how did you become a part of YouthBuild? How did you hear about it? What was going on in your life that made you? I got to ask your story because you are the CEO now.
Yes.
But
he's our biggest success story.
So I need to hear that story, bro.
Yeah. Put me on the spot. Okay. So
I'm going to put her too on just you first.
We're going to get her warmed up. She's got to be ready.
I came to Rockford in 2001, I was paroling from prison at the time.
Okay.
I had been locked up since I was 17. I paroled at 23. And getting to Rockford, it was a new city, opportunity to start
Where were you
over.
From?
Chicago. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My mother had moved here to support me while I was in prison. And getting to Rockford, first thing I noticed, I couldn't get a job because of my background.
Yeah.
And my aunt gave me a flyer for YouthBuild, and I went up there to give it an opportunity. And, after interviews, Antonio was a staff member at the time.
Did you encounter him when he was signing up?
Oh, yeah. He was very persistent, making sure when we were going to start, if he was going to get in. I mean, came with suit and tie. That was the biggest thing that always stood out to me. So definitely knew he was going to be one of our youth builders at that time. And that was my first year as a staff member too. At Youth Build. I had just graduated, and then that year is when I was staffed for that year. So definitely.
After his story, we got to tell yours because you were a student too.
I
don't know. My story might be longer though. So we're good with his.
So I got the money that they give you when you leave prison. I took that and bought a suit from the Goodwill, and that was what I
interviewed in, right?
Yeah, you interviewed for YouthBuild.
Okay.
And long story short, I got into the program.
Tilt the mic down. Like just pull it down a little.
Oh,
there you go.
There you
Perfect.
go.
Now we see your face.
Okay.
Yes.
I went through a few interviews, made it into the program, became president of our Youth Policy Council, got an opportunity to serve on the National Council of Young Leaders as a YouthBuild student, and the rest is history. 20 years later, I became the executive director.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he has a whole story. I know we ain't got enough time, but he stayed with it, moved to Texas, came back, went and worked in Beloit at a youth program there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot of great stuff, and we've been, he's like a little brother. I've seen him grow, so definitely a real great success story for YouthBuild Rockford here. And he doesn't really he's really shy about sharing a lot of his story, but this guy, I'm telling you, was persistent. And I remember even sitting back, a part of the staff wasn't ready to see him be a part of the program, and I kept, I was one of few that was fighting for him. Like, no, he's here for a reason. This is the program. He's coming here for that second chance, and I'm glad he did. I mean, he's doing great now as a CEO for CCS, and doing great things. I mean, like you said, 5 staff to now going to 30. I mean, the programs that they're offering is more than just YouthBuild. He's doing great, and one of the things when I visited the youth recently, I tell them, I can tell this staff is there. They're committed. It's not just a job for them. They're really there and seriously wanting to make a difference in these young people's lives, which is important because young people can read us. Young
absolutely.
People can see if you're serious.
They can see right through you, and they'll call you on your BS quick.
Absolutely.
They will.
Yeah.
I work with young adults. I know.
Yeah.
Real recognizes real.
They do.
Yes.
And I think all of us sharing the passion, my desire and kind of what motivates me is, I know when I got to Rockford, YouthBuild was literally my last option. Because of growing up on the South Side, I had a violent background and gang-related cases and so forth. So getting here and getting an opportunity to start over put my life on a totally different trajectory than what it was on. So my goal, my aspiration is to make sure that this program is around to serve more of people like me coming into our community or growing up in our community, so that they'll have the same opportunities that I had and go from someone that taxpayers are paying to put into a facility to someone who's paying taxes, so that they're assets to their community and they can take part in the work of building their community up. And I think everyone that we bring onto our team, they have similar aspirations and goals as that, which is what makes the team so powerful right now.
And pouring back into the youth, pouring back into the community, because you hear about the things that you guys are doing there, and it's amazing to see these kids turn around. Maybe high school wasn't for them. Yeah. Maybe they got into some bad stuff, like you said, and they want to change, and they deserve another chance.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
For sure. Claudia, let's talk to you a little bit, honey.
Speaking about strong staff.
Strong
there you
staff,
go.
because
Thank you.
everybody knows Miss Claudia. I've already met
goodness.
several of your, yes. But in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, you really love being there. You love your job. You love what you do. And I just want to hear a little bit of how you got involved with YouthBuild.
Yeah. So it's interesting because my education background is actually sociology and pre-med. So growing up, I thought I was always going to be a doctor. Like, that was since I can remember. Well, my parents would joke because I said I wanted to be a doctor, and on my free time, I wanted to be a singer.
Oh,
We're gonna bring you to Domingos.
Listen,
Selena moves.
I will sing. I will
Okay.
sing, just not good.
Okay.
I don't have high expectations.
Open mic time at Domingos. I'm gonna get you.
I got
we
you.
do have open mic if anybody wants to register for Claudia, I want to see your name on that list.
Okay, got it. But yeah, so I had a lot of medical conditions growing up, and at one point I was like, wow, it's like pretty cool that people have a career just helping people get better. So that's kind of what developed my passion for becoming a doctor. But then in college, I really got into the medical sociology world and seeing, there's a lot of different things. So you don't just go to med school, help people, whatnot. There's insurances. There's, there's a lot of things.
There's different avenues.
Right. So then I decided to take a break before med school. I had literally everything down. And then a mentor of mine was like, well, what are you going to be doing during this break? So one of the biggest things I always encourage people is have those mentors in your life, because you just never know what you need to hear. So, with a lot of thought into it and realizing what classes that I really liked the most. And I was always involved since high school, really, but I wanted to kind of see what got me up, what really brought me purpose. One mentor actually suggested that I start working at a higher education. So I was actually in admissions, and I really loved it because I was the first from my family to go to college, graduate from college, but navigating that system was a little bit kind of scary. I'm not sure if I ever told my parents, but I almost dropped out of college because they messed up my tuition. And I didn't know I didn't even know who to go to talk to about that. So I was very, very blessed to have had a counselor. Her name's Nancy, a counselor back at ISU who was like, let me take care of this. We're going to go, this was my first week at Illinois State. And she's like, we're going to go meet with the president to take care of this. And I was like, oh, okay.
We're gonna go straight to the top.
Okay, and she and to get to the president's office at Illinois State, there's a specific elevators you have to go through, or I don't know, maybe she made me feel special. But she really it was that one person that was just took it upon herself to kind of help me above and beyond, because the way I'm not really even sure what happened, but I know for a minute it was for me it was dang, I could have just not came to school. I can't afford this, I don't know how to navigate this. So she really was there for me. And she was the type of person too that I went to Illinois State as a PWI, primary white institution. So seeing my culture not there, I was you miss your family, different things. You miss the food. You miss so many things. And I remember one time she's like, hey, I made arroz con, what's it called? Arroz con leche. Okay. She's like, I made arroz con leche. Do you want some? I'll bring you some. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. And as as a college student, and I was always involved. I just didn't really have time sometimes to cook, and there's different ingredients that you don't find in specific places, like tortillas. And Milagro does not exist in Bloomington Normal. Oh, no. I had to bring it back from Rockford.
The Milagros are my favorite. I don't really like other brands. So
that's what I'm saying. I was kind of lost down there.
And here we can buy it by the case.
Right. So I was, when my mentor brought up this, what are you doing during this gap year? I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let me take a shot. He's like, I think this position would be great for you. I think you should apply. And so, he is now the president of the college.
Nice.
Wow.
Yes. I always kind of joke about that. But anyway, during that time, I applied. I was blessed to get it. And then it was such a blessing to be that person that I feel like I needed during my time. So I was able to, talk to the families. I was bilingual. There was not a lot of people there that spoke Spanish. So getting those little, purposeful moments was very, very good for me. And so one thing that I was raised with was, never stay static, like always find what's next. How can you grow? All these things. So I was able to kind of like take a moment and see what are my next steps.
Yeah.
So I realized med school probably wasn't it. You can help people in so many other ways.
Yes.
And I always tell people I love, the medical field. I'm very grateful for doctors, but there's a way of saving lives that is the social aspect. And I think that's where the social work comes in. So I was able to get on a meeting with William Chapman, actually. So I was talking to Suli, the president of now the Rockford Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So she brought up this idea, the chamber idea to me. And then she's like, so what are you doing now? Like, are you still at Rock Valley? Like, what are you looking into doing? And I was like, you know what? I am, but I am open to different avenues. She's like, okay, well, like, I want to have you start coming to these meetings, all these things.
Get you involved.
Yeah.
Yes. Because there was a disconnect between going away for college and coming back. And then, with the helping her with the chamber, I was like, absolutely, like, let me get back into my community. So
that's how I met you. Was through Suli.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, and the Latina Coalition too. And so we went. We had a meeting with William, and then I don't know how I brought it up. It was like, oh, you're looking for a program manager.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he's like, send me your resume. Like, what do you do? And I explained to him my passions, and I'm like, this is a little bit different of what I'm accustomed to, but I've always been very involved. Like, I don't like to just sit there and tell people what to do. I'm a very hands-on type of person. So then I actually came in as the program manager for Rock for Work. And then just a year ago yesterday, I got promoted to the director of workforce development.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I'm like, which one is the clap?
Which one's the clap?
Is it the green one?
The orange one.
Orange. No. No.
I think this is,
Oh, there we go. It's the red one. My bad. I need to learn the board better.
It was a good mix, though. It was a good mix. Right. It was a good mix.
It's
We were
the anticipation.
DJing.
Yeah, but and I was honest with William too. My first year, I was like, Will, I'm not gonna lie, I gave myself 1 year at a nonprofit world, like seeing what it is, opening up a program, seeing if I like what I'm doing. But again, as someone that always strives to be better, grow, I said I'm gonna assess it after a year. And now I'm at going into my I just crossed to my second year, so I'm invested in the agency, I'm invested in the community, and it's different because in the higher education, I feel like there's this disconnect, or you have 2-4 years for them and different things, and it was very rewarding too. But the way that we do programming here, we're literally not just touching the direct youth's lives. You get their families, their friends, their colleagues,
The community.
right? Like a bigger component. Sometimes we have people calling us kind of late at night, like, hey, like, I'm sorry to bother you, but XYZ happens. And I'm like, I need you to talk to this person. And then that's the beginning, the first few months, and then towards the end, they're like, hey, this happened, but don't worry, I did XYZ. Like, you're getting them to think for themselves. Like, in a way, you're getting them to not need you anymore.
Yeah.
But
Preparing
that's
them
the
for
goal.
life.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's you see some people change within the first few days. You see some people change years later. We always talk about how what we really do is plant seeds.
Yeah.
And some flowers bloom sooner than others. So
Everybody blooms at a different time. Everybody takes things in at a different time.
right.
But one thing is for sure is that you guys have a mentorship program there. and you
Yes.
guys are impacting these kids' lives. I know you are. You know what I mean? I'm an educator too, and sometimes you might be their only means of support. And they look to you like your family.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they need you, and they need those words of encouragement, and they need, sometimes they don't know what direction to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like planting the seeds, like, you know, have you ever thought of doing this? Have you ever thought of doing that? And maybe nobody ever sat down to get to know who they are and what they
Right.
want to do.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's actually how Alpha was really started. So YouthBuild, as everybody knows, has been around. Everybody knows us as YouthBuild.
Yeah.
How many years now has YouthBuild?
We're on our 28th.
28 years.
In Rockford, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
in Rockford. But
Yes.
it's a nationwide
International.
program. International program.
Yes.
It's international.
About 300 programs.
Because you guys just got back from DC. I know you guys went to go do
Yes.
something over there.
Yeah.
That was that lovely picture you sent me.
They didn't invite me. They didn't invite me to that conference. I'm gonna get to them later. But that was an awesome gathering. I seen
Yes,
a lot of pictures,
yes.
a lot of brothers and sisters that I've met over the years for the national work, connecting with you guys. The international piece. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of
Yeah.
international people. I've met
17
over the years.
countries.
Yeah, so that was a huge.
Wow,
gathering.
17 countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And I'm in
wow.
conversations with Mexico, London, and South Africa.
Are you first generation
I am.
here?
Yeah.
Where we need first generation people to explain that, because sometimes we have first generation
Yeah.
kids here that just, they don't have a lot of family here and they're not sure where to go or
Right.
what to do, or, you know, it's sometimes high school can be hard for them, middle school can be hard for
Yes.
them, because I know your program starts at age 11. Is it 11?
So Alpha and Alive and Free are 11. The workforce development ones, which are YouthBuild and Rock
Yeah.
for Work, are 16 to 24.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, and I think that's actually what higher education taught me. Being there and working there, the whole component of it's you impact the youth, the students, but really the best way it works out is when you impact their families or their support system.
Yes.
So teaching them like this is what they're doing. So sometimes, you know, we get interested candidates come in and their parents are like, "Oh, so you get a high school diploma here." I'm like, that's part of it.
That's only
That's
a
part
piece.
of it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
but if you think you can come here just get your high school diploma, you're not going to graduate with us. Like that's not it is, because the youth we have, they're crossing the stage with their high school diploma, but then they also know how to build a house.
Yes.
They also know leadership, life skills, employability. They will also have their hours for AmeriCorps built out, which gives them $1,700 to start off their post-secondary education. So, you know, it's not just a high school diploma, but parents sometimes don't understand that. Sometimes
No.
the youth don't understand that either,
Yes.
you know, and especially the ones that like maybe have a language barrier or maybe they don't, they never finished high school themselves,
Exactly.
you know? So sometimes like you have to let everybody know exactly what it is. So we try to pride ourselves in being as transparent as possible. But also we're always educating and that's the youth, the trainees, but their support system as well.
Absolutely.
When you have someone come in that's interested, you don't just invite that person and you invite the family in, correct?
Yeah.
So that you can explain the program to them and let them know what's all like expectations.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's for those that want to bring in. So we do say, you know, you can bring yourself, bring your support system, because we don't want to assume. But sometimes, you know, we will get those individuals who it's just them. So we try not to put barriers. So we don't do like mandated, you know, you bring somebody else. But most of the time, they do have at least one person. And then they actually, for YouthBuild and Rock for Work, there is an interview process that they have to go through. Just because we get so many candidates. And again, we want to express to them the seriousness of the program. That one of the questions we focus on is what's your support system? First of all, what does support mean to you? What's your support system? So then that kind of gives us a glimpse of like, okay, mom and dad are in the picture, or maybe it's grandma, maybe it's aunts, maybe, you know, it's someone that maybe does have their full support.
Yeah.
And then throughout the program, if we have some issues or we have things, then typically they list them as their emergency contact that we're able to talk to them. So then we touch base with them too, like, hey, like, this is what's happening here. Like, is there something going on that we should know about? Or how are they talking about the program at your house? We do the lovely home visits too sometimes. So knocking
on doors.
Knocking on doors.
I haven't seen them in about 4 days.
Right.
What's going on, right?
Yeah,
I
like
want to touch too on the fact, like with the interview process, like this year we had 75 people apply for the program,
Yes.
and we were only able to take in 25. But there was this, like, it was 26 people at the finish line, and it's like, you know, we can't really make a decision, so we decided to take all 26. But
And
we're
you
limited
made room.
spot, right?
Yes.
There's limited spots based on the funding that we have, and the need for the program is just so great. So,
And then the employees that help with YouthBuild, is it all volunteer or are they paid positions? Do they come in on their own, on their own time? Is it?
No, we have 30. Well, agency-wide, we're going to have about 30 employees.
Okay.
YouthBuild in itself, we have, I think I counted 10 individuals that are hands on the program. And then we can have volunteers, so I would say there's a mix. Our volunteers do volunteer their time,
Yeah.
and then we have guest speakers. And I know you're on that
I'm
list.
on the roster.
You're on that list.
I'm on the-
Who then donate their time and services sometimes to come talk to them, inspire them, get them more information and life skills. So there's a mixture, but there are like about 10 fully staffed full-time member or team members who work hand on hand with them. Frontline is really 5 individuals, but there's people behind the scenes helping too.
I know when I went to go tour the build, and I can't say building, it's buildings. It's plural. There's actually
it's a
3.
campus
Yeah,
there,
it's a campus actually.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if people realize that there's 2 buildings, and then there's like another area behind it also that I had the pleasure of seeing. But when I was touring, I actually ran into people from the community that I know that were volunteering time. Like I saw your man on the grill set, right? He was cooking up steaks, cooking up something. He was cooking up something that looked good.
Right.
So if anyone would like to donate time, do they just contact YouthBuild and say, hey, I'd like to help you out when you have events. I'd like to help you out when you have back to school stuff, when you have whatever, graduation, right? Like when you have anything like that, can people in the community volunteer to help?
absolutely. Just call. We need all the help we can get. And I think it goes back to our core values. One of our core values is partnerships. And we realize that it takes a village to raise a child, and that's literally what we're doing. We're raising up assets for our community. So anyone that wants to assist with that process, just give us a call. We'll get you into the mix of things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that also includes the board of directors. They're all volunteer.
They're all volunteer.
All volunteer.
Yeah.
We give our time and we meet monthly. And, we're also looking to continue to build the board as well, because through the board, we're able to find ways to, finance more of the programming, because a lot of the programs are limited by those grants. And we need to figure out ways of bringing in more funds that are going to be more able for us to do more with our young people and or open the doors for more young. He said 75 came to apply. They barely made 26 students in.
Yeah, that
into
was
the
disproportional.
Yeah. So imagine if we had more funds there. So that's a big part of it is our board of directors, and we need to find more members that can help us raise those funds to continue to grow the programs that are actually succeeding in helping the community and helping the young people. So,
Is YouthBuild a non-for-profit?
yeah, so CCS is a nonprofit, and YouthBuild falls under that. All the programs are under the CCS name, and definitely, so those that are donating, hey, tax deductions, all that stuff. Will has a team that can help. Make sure that wherever we need to put their names on and put their logos on, we'll make it happen. But it's growing, and right now is a good time because everybody sees what's happening on the south side now. There's buildings,
there's changes.
There's a lot of changes going on.
A lot of changes.
So even as a board member, I've told William and the staff is that I don't want CCS to be forgotten. Like, we've kind of been forgotten a little bit in the community. Of course, people know us as YouthBuild Rockford, but CCS, it stands for more. And we're doing the partnership part, connecting with the local programs or organizations that are nearby. Definitely more volunteers are needed, funding, just throwing that out there. Help us continue to grow, because there's a lot happening down there. and a lot of success stories that are going to come out. More Williams, more Antonios, more
Yeah.
other
Absolutely.
alumni that are out there. I mean, that's another key thing that I know we're going to talk about soon is the ribbon cutting. One of the goals is to see alumni come back for that ribbon cutting so they can see the changes that have been made happen there at CCS.
When is the ribbon cutting?
So the ribbon cutting for so that we can unveil our new space will be July 19th at 10 a.m. Representative West will be our keynote speaker. He's the
Maurice
individual that
West
made
is
this
just
possible.
an amazing
He's
man.
awesome.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I had the Maurice
Now we got the right
Yes,
one.
Now we got the right one. He, like, I noticed. Keep going. He's just always so involved
Definitely.
Yes, he is.
with everything in the
Everything.
community, and I know he's an extremely busy man. We're all busy, but
Yeah.
he will stop what he's doing to open up and do some
Yes.
opening statements.
Our youth actually earlier this year in March, we had a kind of a construction / Capitol Hill Day down in Springfield. So we were able to take some of our youth and advocate for YouthBuild. And then there was a construction challenge, which there's no winners, but we clearly won. We're a little bit competitive, but you can be competitive when you're winners, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But
We came to win.
Right.
If you're not first, you're last.
right? So Representative West was down in Springfield at that time, and he literally was, and you could tell he ran outside
In a full suit.
right
Yeah.
in a full suit
With the shoes and everything.
right
Yes.
to come meet our youth.
Wow.
Just because that's that's what it takes. Like our community has been awesome in supporting, but the number one thing I tell our partners is literally, besides financial support, you showing up
Yes.
physically
Yes.
means so much.
Yes.
It does.
It just means so much. And then you have the people, because we've had those community service days too. They come and they roll up their sleeves and come help too.
Yes.
You know, so when our youth see that, when they see that their representatives, that people who their potential employers are coming out to literally, get dirty with them, as they say, or stop what they're doing just to spend 5 minutes with them. Like that makes so much of a difference to
It
them.
speaks volumes, and not only
Yes, it
that,
does.
some of the kids look at someone like Maurice West and was like, I could run for something one day,
some
and
of
I
them-
could be the next person in that position.
Some
And
of
it
them
makes it
said
real.
that. Yeah.
Seeing
Yeah,
brown
they
and
said
black
that.
people
Absolutely.
in these positions now making a difference like he
Yes.
does.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so we had some of the people down there. One of our youth in particular, I won't name names because I don't have their consent, but they started. They had attempted the program before. Previous years, and they were absent all the time, from what I hear. And so this time around, one of the biggest things we asked for those that reapply is what's going to be different. All these things, and we're gonna have. He's like, no, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Whatever. And I'm like, well, how do I hold you accountable? Because the biggest thing about us becoming their new support system is sometimes what you look at, you're gonna get frustrated. But that's what real support looks like.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna
Not always pretty.
right.
Right,
I'm gonna
right,
hold
right.
you accountable. Like, will I send you home because you didn't meet an expectation? Yes, but we're gonna have a conversation about that first, and then you're gonna understand why that was not okay. I'm gonna hold you accountable because that's what we said we're gonna do. But then tomorrow I'm setting you up for success, so you don't do that again. So we've had to have these strong conversations
Tough
sometimes.
love.
Yeah,
We need it.
Yeah.
It is.
I need it. You need it. We all need it.
I would tell people though, like that to me is not tough love. That's just love.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just love and that's support. So this individual was able to go down to Springfield, and the way they introduced themselves, I've never seen someone introduce themselves so well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone their age, and then you could see. I'm not sure how serious they were about pursuing politics, but they asked those questions like, "Wait, what do you mean? Like, how can I get involved? How did you get involved? But what happens if I dropped out of high school? They're asking now these real questions that pertain to them.
Yeah.
But they're getting that motivation and inspiration that they need. And we were able to talk to the comptroller's office as well. And a lot of them share their stories, one with a particular background just like them. And so that really got them going. And so,
that actually did.
Wow.
Yeah.
They saw that this is still a possibility for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just need to. Young people need to see that there is adults out there that are caring.
Yeah.
That they're caring adults that want to see them succeed. Because a
Absolutely.
lot of young people, and I remember the years I worked there, they come almost, just disconnected from the world. They're from different things that have happened, and you said something that's part of the secret seasoning of youth building and CCS overall is the love.
Yeah,
the love
absolutely.
piece. We don't really put that too much into the reports. We don't get that into the grant writing. The love is the piece that young people see, and that was one of the key things that I know as a young person. That's what kept me in the program, because that's what I shared with the young people. I was going to quit, but they showed love to me at the moment I needed that love, that extra attention,
and you feel it when it's real.
Yes, yeah. And that's why I've continued to work with Youth Build either locally, nationally, internationally, because like William said, I want to make sure that these programs are offered and the doors are open as options for those young people that are just looking for that last chance, that last opportunity to really see what's out there for them. And the biggest thing I've gotten out of it is love, and that's something that we're doing every day. Your staff is doing it. I feel it from your staff. When I've been around, I feel it. Like I come in that building, I'm like, man, it's a whole different vibe. You feel it, and the young people, they represent it to you guys too.
Absolutely.
Eating together at the table like a dinner. Oh my God, I wish we would have done that. They were doing that.
That's such a great idea.
You're invited to the next potluck.
Yes, I would love to come.
You got to go check it out.
And I have to come in and speak because I want to talk about entrepreneurism, and I also want to talk about my podcast because you guys have a podcast too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some of them actually want to be on a podcast too.
Yes, I would actually, that would actually be a dope segment to have people from the Youth Build come on and tell their stories and then about how the program is now that we've had
part 2.
Yes, Youth Build part 2. We can make that happen.
And we have some that are like, straight gung ho, like, yes, let's do this, because we've had some news stations come around, and don't get me wrong, I love talking about what I do. I can talk about it for hours. But honestly, I think it's just like, I'm not belittling myself, but I think my work will speak for itself. And at this point, it's our youth. So when they come to interview us, I'm like, do you want to interview a youth instead?
Interview them. It's about them, not me.
There you go.
And I'll tell them, like, I'll get you what you need to get. I will speak briefly, but like, I'm gonna go grab you a few youth that want to talk.
You showed me the clip. I remember when I was there. You were like,
yes.
she did so good. And I remember you were like, it wasn't about me. I said what I had to say in here.
Like, here, talk to them. Yeah. And so I'm sure if I bring it up, even just tomorrow, there'll be like a lot of hands raised, like, yeah, let's do this. And that's the beautiful part, because how many 16 to 24-year-olds do you talk to that are okay with being on the news, public speaking, all these things? Like, they really impress me. I'm like a proud mom moment. I'm not a parent myself, but like, I'm like a proud mom moment, like, oh.
But you do feel like that because you know how like we're all given the family that we have, but like you guys are out here creating the family, like making a family with these kids. Definitely. You know what I mean? And everybody needs, like you said, it's a village. It's not just, it's everybody, all hands on deck.
Right.
Good, bad, or ugly. It's like everybody has to be involved. And I usually never do this, but Yash, if we were to ever have part 2 for Youth Build, I would love, because they're so interested in podcasting, maybe me and you could have 2 of them on and we could do the interview together.
That'd be very awesome.
He's a great interviewer, by the way.
Yeah.
No, yes.
I would love to come just see it.
Yeah, of course. And then I do know that, Will, you had brought up, we had talked about the ribbon cutting, and then you said that there was another event coming up in August. Was it?
Yeah, so back to school bash. Yes. Well, it's 2 events in August. We have our annual commencement ceremony to congratulate the young people for the hard work that they've done throughout the year. So they'll actually get an opportunity to walk across the stage, awards will be given, and so forth.
So graduation.
Yeah. So more information to come out on that. And the second event in August will be our back to school bash. Last year we had it in our parking lot on our campus. This year we're looking to expand it because part of the goal with Comprehensive Community Solutions is to make sure every time we do something, we do it better the next time.
Of course.
Right? Yes. So we're going to block off all of Kent Street up to Booker.
It's a block party.
Yes, it's a block party.
Bringing it back.
I would like to donate my time for that.
Absolutely.
I'm already first volunteer.
Absolutely.
I'll do something.
Absolutely. So Booker is on board as well. So we're going to have events in our parking lot at Booker campus. The main stage will be on Kent Street. We'll have performance. We'll have food. We'll have back to school supply giveaways. But the main thing is to make sure that with all of the fun stuff, we're giving them some real stuff in terms of information as well. So we're going to have speakers on how to combat community violence and make sure that we're addressing the issues in our community as well during that opportunity.
That's awesome, because it's not just like giving them the school supplies they need. It's actually still showing them how to deal with day-to-day things in the community, like you said, like the gang violence and stuff like that. So, like, you don't always have to participate. Step back, and this is what you can do to detour from.
And make sure that they have the resources.
Yes.
So we always have different organizations come and present what they do. So if we can't help you, we can connect you with someone who can. Again, as a community where we're pouring into our young people.
Remind the dates again, so the July and August, because
I
got to put those on my phone too.
Yes.
I got the July one.
Yeah, July 19th,
It's a Wednesday.
which is a Wednesday. July 19th?
Yes.
Okay, July 19th, Wednesday, 10 a.m. And then August 17th
Yes.
Is the
Thursday.
is the graduation.
The graduation.
And then August 26th, which is a Saturday, will be the back to school bash.
The black party.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to remember.
There you go. That's
Yes.
awesome. That's good.
I'm already thinking too, like I could probably do some type of barber beauty bar.
Yes,
So, like,
that would be huge.
Haircuts, beauty stuff for the girls, right?
Yes,
Some
that'd be
braids,
huge.
makeup, or
Yes,
something like that.
yes.
We do something fun.
I will put you in those meetings.
And you guys actually went to my beauty school,
Yes.
right? Did
last
it
Friday,
was- it
2
was
Fridays ago now.
2 Fridays ago, right?
Yes.
So did they get to tour the campus?
Yes.
Shit. Yeah.
Yes. They were highly impressed. And
Yeah.
then I love the little fans you guys gave them. And so you connected to the phone.
Oh yeah.
those fans.
Yes.
Yeah. But we have quite a few interested in becoming anything in the beauty industry.
Beauty
So,
industry.
yeah. So some of them I know wanted to start.
Question.
Yeah. Go right ahead.
How do you guys reach out to the youth? Especially the youth that don't know anything about you guys.
That's a great question. So we have quite a bit of recruitment strategies. So the funny part is that we haven't really been intentional, but the best and biggest way of recruitment is our success stories, or our youth, really, because we have some that didn't even finish a program that will still refer people out. So from one aspect, we do flyerings, we do door-to-door flyerings too, knocking on doors and talking to them about our programs.
Do you do booths at like events?
Yes.
Yeah, we do booths.
Do you
as
have
well.
a booth at his event coming up?
Hmm.
I'm just asking.
We will talk about that. Yes.
I'm just throwing it out there because
That
he has
is
an event
true.
coming
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
and I
that's true.
feel like
Yeah.
where that event's going to take place is like in your neighborhood.
Sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So we're also very data driven. So we look into what zip codes in terms of what we combat and where the resources based on numbers is where these programs are needed. So we are in the heart of it, which is 61101, and then 02 and 04 are the next that talk about that or need those resources. Yeah. So that's where we flyer more. So, and then we do when there's events in the community, we try to be there. But really, what has worked the most is again our students like referring. Social media. I know.
I was just going to ask that. Social media is key,
Yes.
honey.
Yes.
Social media, you can reach the
I
masses.
always tell Will, like, we need a social media person. Like,
And I
one
know your
person.
light bulb went off and was like, how come this is the first time I'm hearing about this?
Yes. So we're slowly but surely working. I mean,
He's a marketing genius. I'm just throwing it out there. You might
okay,
want to
we're
put him
gonna-
in your budget.
We're definitely going to talk.
He might have to join us in a couple meetings.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Ask him to
no,
come
I'm
out.
saying like to help you
That's
market
awesome.
this.
That is awesome.
Because like reaching the masses with volunteers, reaching the masses with students, like that. That's how
Yeah.
you're gonna do it.
Yeah. And slowly but surely, because I think what we were trying to say too with a smaller five-person staff. I think when I walked in, it was like 7.
Yeah.
When I walked in, 7. And it's really cool because we had like the the organizational structure. I had my first one, and then I had the one that we just like revamped with the latest grant. And I'm like, wow, the difference in positions. This is awesome. Yeah. So with that, you know, like sometimes when you're a small organization, you have to wear many hats. So we can, you know, you have to prioritize, and you know, recruitment marketing kind of gets lost sometimes. So then I think we're getting back into the bigger staff where you know, YouthBuild is in full running on. I can go a little bit hands off of that. Our Rock for Work program is also running, so it's like we're able to prioritize our time and different things. Unfortunately, marketing sometimes does get lost in that, but that is the next big goal to look into it. And there is a whole plan coming out, especially with our ribbon cutting, because it's our 31st year anniversary. Which I love how Will lets me be as creative as possible, and I'm calling it
creative freedom.
Yes, I love it. 30+1. So 30. You know, we wish we would have celebrated that 30th year, because that's typically like a milestone, but we knew we weren't ready, and this year, like the celebration is already bigger. So the 30+1 will come with a lot of different things to get to know our organization. And so our community gets to know it, even our youth, because I feel like sometimes they may not know exactly what we do behind the scenes. We always joke when they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just sitting in the office doing nothing."
I didn't know until you explained the programs and what it was that you did there. And I'm like, this has been here the whole time? You mean the whole time?
Yeah. Like, I'll throw one out there. Most people don't know that we have a culinary program.
Right.
No.
Culinary track in a program. So our youth actually from that program was able to make some lunches, and we sometimes get those, but I want to highlight this because a few weeks ago we had 3 other programs, YouthBuild programs from different states, such as California, Vermont, Illinois, come in and do some service learning exchange is what we call it. So they were doing some community service out our near our campus, and our Rock for Work culinary program was like, hey, like we're gonna put our skills to the test, and we're gonna make some food for anyone that wants to try. So they made some amazing sandwiches, amazing
I remember
wings.
you invited us to go one day. You're like, they can make something, and when you visit the next time, so that you can try them and be honest with them. Tell them what you think. And so, and you know, like I don't have a culinary background, but you know, I have my mom, and my mom. But I love food,
right?
And I will gladly taste the food,
right? No,
so when is the next taste test? Let us know.
Tomorrow, actually.
What time? Because I can go by for lunch.
He's like, I'll be there for lunch.
All right, I'm gonna take my lunch. I'm gonna stop by for lunch then.
Have you ever considered adding like a health and beauty program?
Yes. So one thing we love about the agency is that we uphold this theme of limitless. So there's a lot of programs that we're considering. It's just, again, like it's that whole funding aspect, given that we're a nonprofit, and then also the need. So some grants, you know, will say like, well, what's the need, or, you know, whatnot, and they may not award us the money because they don't see a need from their eyes. So I think what I love about partnerships is getting to know someone in that field, because you're going to be able to tell me a lot more about that field than I will.
And I'm involved with education because I have a huge education background, working at Tricoci for so many years. And then also owning my own business, Beauty by Melissa Santillan, merchandising, podcasting, everything. So
and you touched on a little bit about the AmeriCorps grant. Would the AmeriCorps grant be able to fund students that would like to go to Tricoci? Is that fund be able to use for that? I can't remember. As long as the institution is accredited,
we are.
They can.
We are.
So, and our goal since day one has been to start a new program every year. So every year since we've walked through the doors, we've started a new program. So we have a list that we're working off of, and we're going to definitely work.
If you ever get to my portion of that list, I would love to be involved somehow.
Absolutely.
You let me know.
Yeah, and so what Antonio was referring to was something I touched on earlier too, is that it's called the Eli Siegel Award. So our youth complete 450 community service to get about, I think it's $1,700 in $1,700.
Yeah,
towards a post-secondary education.
Yeah.
So that Friday that we went to Tricoci, like that's one of the components we kind of like tied on. Like you're doing community service. Sometimes it gets hot. We're in the Midwest. It gets cold. So you never know. And you may be thinking, why am I doing this? But this is why. So you get those youth that were very passionate and their eyes just lit up, and we're like, this is why you do your community service, because that reward from AmeriCorps is what's going to be able to help you pay for that school. So we're able to kind of give them a full round circle. So I'm sure you'll have some of our youth because some of them were just really, really interested. And even just to go take some services, they're like, "Oh, you guys do facials here? We're gonna come do a facial." I think some of them might have made an appointment.
My students, they already know. When people walk through the door, you tell them about the services. You try to get them to book an appointment.
Right? Yeah. I think they did, because a few of them, they're like, "Dang, we should all come." I forgot to tell you. They're like, we should all come get facials
Everyone
one day.
likes services.
Yeah, absolutely.
Field trip. They're like, Miss Claudia, field trip.
I
Everybody
know.
gets a facial.
There you go.
But they all think I'm really rich for some reason.
But you know what? If I were to talk to my GM, Miss April is amazing.
Okay.
I can definitely try to arrange something for you guys to come.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. And then, Will, are you guys still offering? I know back in the day you used to do like job shadowing. Is that also a key piece that you guys also introduce to them? So
Absolutely.
they can actually go shadow somebody in those fields.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And we have some construction organizations that kind of always reach out to us.
Okay.
One of the
I want to give a shout out on the construction side to Key Solutions. They're one of the organizations. They're Union Signe. They're one of the organizations that are not only working with us to do remodels of our buildings, but they also give those job shadow opportunities to our young people.
And it's beautiful. And I know we keep touching on these partnerships. So when Key is there, or anyone from Key Solutions is there, helping, remodeling, they do their own thing. Like we invite them to what's called Circle or any activity that we're doing, and they'll come out. There was a few individuals that would come out and let them know, like, if you guys have questions, come ask us. If we're doing something that you're interested, come ask us. So they're also really hands-on, and those are the type of partnerships that we really, really treasure.
And I just want to throw this out there before we wrap up. The fact, like, what we look at in terms of a partnership, when we're talking with different organizations, we don't do the 50-50. My mother used to tell me when I was younger, like, if you're only giving 50% of yourself to something, where's the other 50% going?
Yeah.
So we look at relationships as you put your all in, I put my all in. So here's what we expect from the relationship, and that's how we build our partnerships with our community
That's a good
members.
motto.
That's awesome. That is.
And just before I wrap up, I just wanted to thank sponsors Icon Studios. And I also wanted to give some attention to the event that you are having next Sunday.
Yes.
Domingos en el Parque.
Yes, Domingos
is
en el Parque. It's back.
Yes.
It's kicking off. We're having 3 summer events. First one's coming up this Sunday, coming up on June 11th. 2 to 8, we have live music, vendors, food, activities for the kids. Hopefully you'll get to see also 3-on-3. If you want to be a part of that 3-on-3, Rogelio's contact information is out there. He is kind of helping us coordinate that 3-on-3 soccer competition. But yeah, live music, which is going to be awesome. We're bringing out actually a mariachi from Chicago, all-female mariachi. And that's a group I've been keeping an eye on since they started, and finally got them locked in for this one. And then we have a hometown group, Inconfundible 3030. They just started back up. They took a break. And the minute they started, I'm like hitting up my buddy. I'm like, hey, I got to get you guys back, for the summer kickoff. So those are the 2 main groups. And I know we have some other small talent that I'm looking to book for the open mic time. And
Claudia.
Yeah.
I'll send you my contract.
There you go. Okay. But yeah, so definitely, come on out. It's free this year because of construction that's going to be started at Levings. I'll get to that in a second. This year, we will be hosting our June and August event will be at Blackhawk Park, which is going to be at the top level of Blackhawk Park, not the Marinelli Field. It's at the top, which is open, and it's going to be awesome because there's plenty of shade, plenty of picnic tables. There's also, kids activities, the parks in the area for kids. So definitely come on out. We also have Screw City Jeeps. 815 that's coming out. They're bringing their Jeeps. They're going to be lined up so everybody can come and check out their neat vehicles. It's
And
gonna be nice.
there'll be local vendors there, and I'm
Yes.
hoping I'll see you guys in a vendor space if you
Yes.
guys can make it to. If not,
Absolutely.
he's got 2 more.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So that's
Yeah.
actually a
Yeah.
good.
So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be nice to kick off. I mean, the weather's awesome now, so I'm hoping it keeps up like this, and
Yeah, Mother Nature's looking good so far.
it's looking really good.
Yeah,
It's
for
looking
sure.
good.
Well, I want to thank Antonio for co-hosting with me. I
Thank
appreciate
you
you
for
so
having
much.
me. This is awesome.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you,
you.
Will, for pouring back into our youth in the community. It's a village, you guys. So if you want to donate any time, if you want to be more involved with Youth Build, please contact somebody that you see here on the panel, and we would love to direct you in the right direction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, and good night.